Good afternoon or good evening. This is Coach Anthony Williams, founder and CEO of Connected Athletics. The Spotlight Podcast is one of our first products out of our new company that's based out of Austin, Texas. Where, as I said, we're a startup that's focused on using technology to advocate and allow student athletes to have a voice in the recruiting process outside of their huddle video. We've interviewed over 200 plus players since April. And a lot of college coaches and players find it very helpful in this pandemic recruiting cycle that we're in right now. We've got another exciting prospect with us on the podcast tonight. But before I get started, I want to shout out one of our sponsors, Epic. Epic is a new, exciting sports apparel company based out of Houston, Texas, which is owned by my good buddy, Stefan Johnson. Epic stands for Every Play I Compete. So we're happy that they're sponsoring the show, and players like Ben and others will soon get a complimentary face mask, protective mask for them to wear during this pandemic time. So we really do appreciate all of the support of Epic sports gear, Every Play I Compete. If you want to look them up, go to I Am Epic 247 to get more information on that company that's coming up. But let's focus right now on our prospect on the podcast right now. Ben Roberts is a class of 22 linebacker, DB, hybrid playmaker on defense from VR Eaton High School up in the Fort Worth area up in Texas. He's 6'3", 190 pounds, strong GPA of 3.5, academic all district, which is awesome. And you can see his Twitter name there for you to reach out to. Ben, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm looking forward to hearing your story. I've watched your video. We're going to watch it here in a little bit, but I want to hear more about you telling your own story in your own words. So let's just jump right in here. Let's start with the academics. You know, all college coaches, the first thing they have to do to qualify a prospect is do an evaluation on their academics. You've got the strong 3.5 GPA. Tell us, what are some of your favorite subjects in class right now?
I think my favorite class right now is pre-calculus. I really enjoy it, solving problems. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing. I solve Rubik's Cubes and stuff, so it's really easy for me.
So you're a numbers guy? You think math is your future, some part of math?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One thing for all of us, and I'm obviously a former student athlete also at the high school and college level, but there are always some teachers or coaches or tutors along the way that kind of helped us keep that high academic standard. Take this time to shout out, is there a teacher or two at Eaton that you want to shout out that's helped you a lot along the way?
Not necessarily at Eaton, but in elementary school, I had a second grade teacher that really changed my world and really changed everything for me. Yeah.
Do you remember their name by chance?
Yes. Her name was Miss Weber. I don't remember her first name, just her last name, because that's how I called her.
That's awesome that you remember somebody that made that much of an impact way back in elementary. That is outstanding. Hey, tell us, I know you're still in your junior year right now, but have you thought about what you might major in when you get to college? So Ben, obviously you're just about to, you're midway through your junior year. Have you thought about what you might major in when you get to college?
I want to major in coaching and training and teaching, all those kinds of things, because I feel like coaches have given me a lot of my love for football and love for school, and I want to be able to give that back to kids.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay. Well, tell us, the first thing coaches want to know about prospects is what is their learning style, both in the classroom and on the field and in position meetings. Would you consider yourself more of a verbal, visual, or hands-on learning style?
I'm very hands-on, very visual learner. I feel like I connect with what I'm trying to solve better that way.
Makes sense. Okay. Tell us also, have you always been a good student, or did a light come on during elementary or middle school or high school to get you to the GPA you are now?
In elementary school, I wasn't not a very good student. I was all over the place, couldn't stay still and stuff. But I had teachers explain things to me and help me understand why I'm doing this and why it's important to me. And that really changed my life. And that's why I'm as strong of a student as I am today.
That's a great answer. When coaches, when we open back up from the pandemic and coaches are able to get back on campus, the first thing they do is they're going to come to your school and come to a classroom that you're in. Before coaches do that, if a coach was to come by and see you in classroom, what would they see? Are you sitting in the front of the class? Are you engaged in the conversation with the teacher? Tell us what kind of person are you in classroom?
In the classroom, I know because COVID and everything, we have assigned seats now, but I try to get in the front of the class because I feel like I learn the best there. Because when I'm in the back of the class, I'm disconnected. So if you were to come see me in class, I'd be in the front of the class. I'd be paying attention, shaking my head, interacting with the teacher and with classmates, just make sure everyone understands what's going on.
Okay. Awesome. Great answer. So let's move to learning more about you personally. Tell us about your family. Your mom helped you out here as we got started with the podcast. Tell us a little bit about your mom and dad. And then are you an only child? Are you the oldest, the youngest? Give us a little bit of background about the Roberts family.
So I live with my mom and my dad. My parents do everything for me. They've always been by my side. They're just amazing people. And then I have an older brother. He's 21. He's up in Arkansas right now. And then that's my only sibling. I'm the youngest. So yeah, that's a little bit about them.
Okay. As the baby of the family, was your big brother a positive influence on you growing up?
Um, he was an influence. I wouldn't say he was the most positive, but I have learned most of my life lessons through him, which is I give $1,000,000 to him for that.
Yeah. Was he also an athlete, or were your parents athletes?
Neither of my parents were athletes. My brother played high school football, but wasn't a star or anything. Was always second string. So I'm kind of the first in that area.
Okay, good stuff. And then tell us, we know you spend a lot of time working out, getting ready for the season and now in season, but when you do have free time, what are some of your hobbies? What are some of your interests? Do you like to fish, hunt, be out in the water? What do you do in your spare time?
I love to fish and hunt. The outside is everything to me. I hate being inside and just being on my phone because I feel like I've accomplished nothing. So yeah, outside, that's all me.
Okay. Are you a video game guy? You like playing video games when you have some spare time or no?
I used to, but not much anymore because I just don't accomplish much from them.
Yeah.
I just don't feel great from playing video games.
Sounds like you've learned the lesson that time management is a key part of being a successful student athlete between school and practice and your chores at home. Tell us about how you manage your time. How do you get it all in? Staying to being a good student, being a top player in your team. How do you manage that? How do you manage your time with that?
Well, so to being to being where I am now, what I do is first things first. I got to get schoolwork done above everything else, so that I can do what I love. And so, like, if it means waking up extra early to do schoolwork, I'll do that. If that means going to bed later to do schoolwork, I do that. And then sleep's important to me. Making sure I get to bed on time, not wasting time on my phone. It's just make sure you get everything you need to get done.
Well, Ben, I can tell you from that response that you absolutely get it and you're going to be successful at the next level because those two things are the key, not your 40 time, not how big or fast or strong you are. The keys to being a successful student athlete at the college level is time management and getting your rest because you're not going to have all day and the party. You're going to be up at 6 o'clock for workouts. You're going to go to all your classes. You're going to go to position meetings. You're going to have practice. You're going to have mandatory tutoring at the end. You're going to have dinner. And by the time you get back to your dorm room, it's going to be 8 o'clock and there's no time to party. You're going to be exhausted. So you've already gotten that base recipe down for being a successful athlete at the next level. I love hearing that. Tell us, recruiting is taking place a lot on social media right now. For these coaches that maybe haven't checked out your Twitter feed, tell them what kind of presence you have and how you're using Twitter to help your recruiting and promote yourself as a student athlete.
Well, so right now on Twitter, I'm right now mainly just posting my big plays, my midseason highlights, and then I make sure that I'm supporting others on my teammates, even like if they've got those offers. If I'm hoping that if I am retweeting and shouting out those players, I might get attention from those coaches that saw them.
That's awesome. You have hit once again, Ben. You so get it. Coaches want to see about you as an individual, but they want to find out: are you a good teammate? Are you repping your team? Are you shouting out when you guys have a big win? Are you happy when one of your teammates gets an offer or has a big play? So once again, you can check that box because as a coach, when I coached in college, I wanted a player that was a good teammate and supported his teammates, and not somebody who was like, well, why is he getting these offers and how come I'm not starting? Those guys that always complain, they're always a cancer. So you always get that. Couple of lighter questions here. I call these my favorite questions. What's your favorite all-time football movie?
My favorite all-time football movie is definitely radio. If you've seen radio about
Yeah,
the,
good
yeah,
choice.
definitely that, because just mainly because of the story and the impact that one guy had on the whole team and the
Yeah.
whole community. Definitely that
That's
one.
the one. So I told you earlier, I've interviewed probably 200 athletes, and it's always either Blindside or Remember the Titans. Radio, I think, is the first time I've heard that one. So great choice by you. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, I like a lot of food, but like on my birthday, it's definitely sushi. I'll go get sushi.
Okay, wow. Okay, sushi guy, I like it. That's different. And then favorite music artist or favorite type of music, or do you listen to a little bit of everything? Tell us about your music taste.
Well, so I really don't enjoy music that much, but when I do listen to it, I listen to country music. And then my favorite country artist would be Robin Williams. He's an older guy. He's
Mhm.
really good.
Okay, I like it. Yep, nothing wrong with that. Tell me, dream scenario question. Let's say you have 4 great years in college and you get invited to the NFL draft in New York City. Who is sitting at your table with you, waiting for the commissioner to call your name?
So obviously my mom and my dad, and then a guy that's been through a lot with me. His name's Greg Walls. He's my personal trainer. Just a great guy, role model. And then my grandma. Love my grandma.
Awesome. I like hearing it, taking care of family and all that. Hey, one thing coaches want to know about also is, giving back to the community that supports us on Friday or Saturdays at games is important. Tell us what you do. Are you involved in giving back through your church? Are you involved with some nonprofits, a food bank, or a Habitat for Humanity? What are you doing to give back to the Eaton community?
Actually, I go to an elementary school 3 days out of the week, and I help with the fifth graders and those kids and anything that they need. Just kind of giving them a break from that harsh school life.
That is nice. That's awesome to give back to the young, the next generation, paying it forward. I like that. Tell me, this I always like to ask these type of questions because not everybody's going to play in the NFL. The numbers are 1% of all college athletes will play in the NFL. But Ben, what do you want your life to look like once football is over, whenever that is, whether it's after college or after a great career in the NFL? What do you want your life to look like personally and professionally?
So personally, I always like to have a nice home, nice family around me. Um, but professionally, I want to be a coach. I want to, like I said, give back. I want to do all those things that people have done for me.
That is awesome. I love that answer. Great job on that. Um, Tell me, communication as an athlete, is important, especially in football. Tell these coaches, how do you best communicate with your teammates and with your coaches? Are you a pick up the phone and call me? Hey, let's meet face to face. Or are you okay with text and DMs and things like that? Which way do you find the most effective way to communicate with you?
I would say the most effective way and the most that I'll remember is a face-to-face conversation, because I can read emotions and read all those things better face-to-face.
Like it. Great answer. Hey, let's jump into recruiting here real quick. And while we do, as I told you earlier, we're going to pop up your highlight video for any coaches that maybe haven't seen it. Let me share my screen here because I was really impressed. I've watched a lot of film each week, and yours is one of my favorites because you show a lot of great things at the DB position, mostly at safety here. So we're going to talk over this as I show it here. Ben, is it playing for you? Just want to make sure.
Yes, sir. It
Okay.
is.
So talk about this now. So tell us, you've got great size and speed. Are you a hybrid? Can you play safety and linebacker, or do you prefer playing safety?
Um, I prefer to play safety, but I could definitely play linebacker if that's what it takes to play the next level. I'll do whatever is needed of me.
Ben, I can tell you that second play, and I'm just going to roll it back a little bit because as a linebacker that played inside, this play, when you just come downhill full speed, is really what I love seeing out of safeties. I mean, you're not waiting, you're coming full speed, and anything that's on the track, boom, just gets hit. And that's what college coaches love about safeties that can come downhill. A couple other things that I like that I see in your video here is that you understand route progressions. Like, look, you read it early and you get to that bubble screen immediately. A lot of kids don't process. Tell us about your mentality playing safety and how you can sniff things out so easy. Are you a big film guy, or how are you on top of these things?
I'm definitely I wouldn't say I'm a big film guy. I'm a very average film guy. I watch 2 to 3 hours every week, but in those 2 to 3 hours, I'm taking notes. I'm making sure I understand what my matchups are going to be and what their percentages of throwing and running and what those alignments look like.
And the other thing I love, Ben, when I recruited coach linebackers in high school and college, I love great tacklers, and you are a great tackler. You're not always trying to go for the ESPN Showtime hit. You hit, wrap, and drive, and guys go backwards. Tell us about your mentality when it comes to playing against the run and being a great tackler. What brings it for you?
When it comes to the run and tackling, to me, it's just get in their way, don't arm tackle, put a shoulder on the hip, and be aggressive. But in a game, to me, I really don't think about those things. It's just that second nature kind of thing. I've repped it over and over again so that I don't mess up.
You know, Ben, the more I watch your video, the more I think, I don't know the size of your parents. I will talk about that here in a second, but, you're already 6'3", 195. What do you think your height and weight will be by the time you graduate from high school?
I think by the time I graduate from high school, I think I'll be between 6'4", 6'5", pretty close to that, maybe 205, 210, something like that.
Okay. And then, if I'm a college coach and I see this video, I'm like, hey, this kid can play linebacker, he can play a hybrid, he can play a rover, or he can play safety. What is it you think you'll translate to once you get to the college level? What position?
I think I'll probably be an outside linebacker because
Yeah.
of my highlights and my physicality.
Yep. I would agree with that assessment. And you can definitely do both here. I mean, and we talk about being physical and coming downhill, but you've got great hands and you show great range in the back half. Tell us about how you see the difference between playing in the box as part of the front seven and playing in the back half.
It's definitely gonna be more of a clutter, I feel like, with D lineman and O lineman in your way, and more physical. But I feel like it won't be that big of a change for me because I have played linebacker before, and they've moved me down to play linebacker on this team. So the difference is, to me, just physicality.
Hey, look at that. Love your effort. Never give up on plays. Tell us, about speed. The game is all about speed, both on the offensive and defensive side. What are you doing to maintain your speed as you grow with such size here?
Um, every weekend I'm going and doing speed training with that guy I mentioned, Greg Walls, always trying to better myself, even through changes in my body and size. I think from here on out, I'm only getting faster.
Love it, man. I'm telling you, I don't impress easy, but I really love your film a lot. You've got a lot of upside in a lot of different ways the coach can see you playing. Tell me, are you a weight room guy? Do you love being in the weight room?
I do. I really love the weight room, and when I'm in the weight room, I'm not the big bench guy. I'm a big squat and power clean guy. I love those movements.
Okay. Now, Ben, I usually put players in high school in two different buckets. Those that wait till Friday nights to to flip a switch on, and those that like to practice and be prepared and then be ready to flip the switch when it gets to Friday nights. Which one are you?
I love practice. I love practice because I get to see where I'm flawed, my biggest competition is in practice because we've got every kind of receiver you'd hope for. We've got the big guy who just uses his body. You've got the quick little guy. And you've got all these different athletes and different skill types to play off of and learn from when going into this next week.
Awesome. I totally agree with that. Hey, tell us, is there a certain player at the college or pro level that you pattern your game off of, whether it be a DB or linebacker?
Actually, it's not a DB or a linebacker. It's actually an offensive player. It's actually Tim Tebow is definitely a big guy for
Okay.
me
Yeah.
because he's physical. He's a great leader. He was just a great guy on and off the field.
Well, you set me up for my next question, which is, how do you define leadership and how do you lead as a junior right now on your team?
So to me, the definition of leadership is being a guy that your players can come and talk to you, that will listen to you and respect you on and off the field. Even in the classroom, they're doing something wrong and you can tell them, hey, maybe not do this. They'll listen to you and they'll do that. And then for me, the way that I do that is on the field. I'm always there so that people don't get in big arguments with, like, how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a guy that someone can come ask me a question and I can give them an answer because I've done my homework and I've done all those things.
Like it. That's a great response. So let's talk a little bit about recruiting before we finish up here. Tell us, I know recruiting is different right now with the pandemic, but who have you heard from? Who do you want to hear from? What's been your recruiting experience so far?
Um, I honestly have not heard from very many schools, and I'm hoping that I can get some D1 offer that'll kind of spark it. And I believe that I can. I believe I have that potential. Um, so yeah, that's really all I'm hoping for right now.
Okay. So you sound like you're wide open. And do you have any preferences? Would you prefer, let me ask you a couple questions around that. Do you prefer to stay in state and play near your family? Or are you okay with going anywhere in the country to get the best education?
To me, anywhere I'll play anywhere
Okay.
because this is what I love, and I would hate for it to be done like that at the end of high school.
Okay. And then tell us, so obviously a big part of the qualification process for an offer is test scores. I know
Mhm.
COVID's affected that, but are you scheduled to take an SAT or an ACT coming up?
Yes, sir. I scheduled to take my ACT towards the end of February, and then I'm scheduled to take my SAT this summer.
Good. Okay. We are hopeful that we get back to more of a general, with lots of camps and combines come up in the spring because it really has been disastrous for the last two classes. Class of 20 and your class are really struggling right now, but hopefully we'll have those out there. You definitely have the ability to play at the next level. I'm not even worried about that. But let me just ask you, and now let's just keep it honest here, and that's what we love doing on our podcast. You mentioned D1. Are you open to playing FCS, Division two, Division three, if it's the right culture, if it's the right education, and if it's in the right area?
Yes, sir. I 100% am because to me, it's all about the culture and it's all about getting the chance to play football is amazing to me, and that chance at any level would be a blessing.
Yep, totally agree. Ben, that's a great response. Lastly, let's finish up here. Tell us, coaches, all coaches. One of my favorite good friend of mine, he's the DB coach at Stanford, Dwayne Aquino, always tells me, Anthony, give me a competitive player over a player that maybe isn't as fast, isn't as strong, doesn't have the right size, but if he loves to compete, I love him. Tell me about your competitive spirit. How competitive are you, and how does it drive you as a player?
I'm definitely. It's hard for me to think that there are people that are more competitive than me because everything's a competition to me, and if I lose, you're gonna know I lost because I'm gonna be upset about it, and I'm gonna win. It's just how it is for me.
Okay, I like it. Well, hey, we talked about the elevator pitch earlier, Ben. I think you've given a lot of great responses here. I think coaches are really going to like it and reach out to you. But let's finish with your elevator pitch. Look in the camera and tell these coaches why they should recruit you and what you're going to bring to their program.
So you should recruit me because I'm a leader on and off the field. I get my homework done, everything that I need to get done. I'm going to be that guy in practice that gives it my all, just like if it's a game, because I'm strongly believe in you play like you practice, and you just pick me because I'm gonna do everything I can for you.
Well, it doesn't get more simple than that, Ben. Based on seeing and hearing your story and about your family and watching your video, I don't know why coaches won't be after you. And as I promised, we will get this recording in front of college coaches. I highly recommend you get it out there too. And I guarantee you, when we follow up with another interview, probably in the spring or in the summer, there'll be some coaches on you, man. So just trust the process and be patient and just keep focused on being the best student and athlete you can be in that program at Eaton right now. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Thanks. Have a great rest of the night and a great rest of the season. And if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate you.
No problem.